let us create an array. So we start off by first writing let. You could also write var or const. And then we create the array by choosing a name. So we will choose fruit basket. And now we set this to rectangular brackets. And now, thanks to these rectangular brackets, JavaScript automatically knows that fruit basket is an array, which is empty. So now let's put something into it. And the first thing we put into it is a string, which is called watermelon. You can see strings are created with these double quotes. And let's also put a banana into it, and a blueberry, and last but not least, let's say a lemon. And then we close this whole thing with a semicolon at the end. And now let's create a console.log from our array. And let's go to our website and we can refresh it. And now you can see we get an output of this array with all 4 elements. And let's say we want to get specific information from our array. So we don't want all of the information, but just part of the information. What we can do is we can create a console.log with the name of our array, and then we can add rectangular brackets into it. And now we can choose one element with the index number. So let's say we choose index number 0, and keep in mind that arrays always start at index number 0. So watermelon is 0, banana is 1, and so on. And now if we refresh, you can see that we get the output of watermelon. Of course, if we choose index number 1 and we go to our website and we refresh, you can see that we get the output of banana. Let's say we choose index number 7. You can see we don't have an index number 7. So if we refresh, we get undefined. And one cool thing which we can do is we can add 2 rectangular brackets. So the first rectangular bracket chooses the blueberry, and then the second rectangular bracket goes one step deeper. So it chooses the characters, and once again it starts at 0. So the B of blueberry is index number 0, and L is 1, U is 2, and E is 3. So if we actually go to our website, you can see as a return value we get E. Our next goal is to create code which always returns the last element. So of course, in our specific case, we could just use index number 3, because index number 3 is the last element. But let's say we would add any elements to it, or we would remove any elements, then of course this code wouldn't give us the last element. So we need to find another solution. And one possible idea would be to use a negative number. Sadly, this does not work, but the idea behind it is that if the array starts at 0 and we move once to the left, it would loop back to the end and we will get the last element. But like I said, sadly this does not work. So if we refresh, we simply get undefined. And in the same way, if we have 2 rectangular brackets, and let's say we have a negative number in the second rectangular bracket, and we refresh, we also get undefined. So we need to find another solution. And to find this other solution, we first have to learn about the .length method. So here we have a console.log, the name of our array, and now we can write dot and choose length. And now what this does is, well, it gives us the length, like it says. So here, as you can see, as a return value we get 4, because our array has a length of 4. And please don't confuse the length with the index numbers. The index numbers are start at 0, but you can see we have 4 elements, so we get the length of 4. And now we can use this length method by writing the console.log with the rectangular brackets, and now we put the length method into it and do a calculation by writing -1. And because the length is always once higher than the last index number, this code will always give us the last element of our array. So of course, if we refresh, you can see here we get lemon. And now let's try to delete this, and we can refresh. You can see now we get blueberry. And of course the length decreased to 3. And yes, if we would add an element, so let's say mango to it, and we refresh, you can see we also get mango. So this code works. And let's delete mango once again. Here once again lemon. And the cool thing is we can also write -2, and now this code always gives us the element before the last element. So you can see here the last element is lemon, and the element before the last element is in our case blueberry. The next method we will learn pretty much combines just all of the stuff we just had. So this method is called the add method. So we can write the name of our array, dot, and add, not flat, thanks VS Code. And now what this add method does is it works pretty much like these rectangular brackets, but additionally we can also use negative numbers. So we don't need to use any calculations. And now let's try it out. Let's say we have index number 1, which is banana. So if we go to our website, you can see as a return value we get banana. If we have index number 2, which is blueberry, and we go to our website, you can see we get blueberry. And now the moment of truth, we have a negative number, -1. So this should give us the last element, which is lemon. And here you can see we get lemon. Let us put an element into our array, but this time we do it a bit different. We don't just write the element to it, but we will use the code for the name of our array, then we use rectangular brackets, and then let's say we choose index number 7. And now we set this to mango. So now at index number 7 we have mango, and we can check this whole thing. So index number 7, and we go to our website and we refresh this whole thing. You can see as a return value we get 7. And before we make a console log of a full array, we will first look at the length method. So we can refresh, and now this is pretty surprising that we added 1 element to our array, but the length increased by 4. So you remember, before we put this mango into it, we had a length of 4, and now we have this length of 8. And in one moment we will see why this happened. So let's have a console log of a complete array. And here you can see by adding mango or any other element at index number 7, JavaScript automatically added 3 empty elements to it. And because JavaScript needs to put something there, it chose to put emptiness into it. And we can also have a console.log from this emptiness, so we will get undefined here. And also let's do a object.keys, which is really interesting. Object.keys from our array. And now what you can see are the index numbers. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 7. Now let's say we are really unhappy with these index numbers. and we want to change this whole thing to 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how do we do this? Well, first of all, we create a new variable, and we call it string filter variable. And now, so in this string filter variable, we want this order. So what we can do is we can take our array and now use the filter method. And we will filter to string. Now let's have a console.log from our string filter variable, and also let's have a object.keys, and let's refresh our website, and you can see here we have watermelon, banana, blueberry, lemon, and mango without the 3 empty elements, and we also have index numbers the way we wanted to have, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this whole thing seems to work, but the sad thing is it only seems to work. So let's say we put something into it, and here at index number 6 we saw this is empty, so let's fill it with a number, let's say 5, and now this 5 is a number data type. And because we filter out everything that's not a string, this 5 should actually be filtered out. So we can refresh, but sadly you can see that here the 5 appears. So somehow this code is not working. So what we need to do is we have to exchange this string for a custom function. And what we will do is we will create an unnamed arrow key function. So it's maybe a bit complicated, we will later create a normal function, but first just keep following. So we have a parameter and we call this x, of course you could call it whatever you want, and then we have type of this variable x, this parameter x, and if this equals to string, and now what this code does is it goes through every element of our array and it looks if the type of this element is string, and if this is the case, it puts it into the string filter variable. So now we can refresh and you can see here the number 5 disappeared, so it seems to work. And now actually it works. Because now we can also check, let's say we filter to number and we refresh, you can see we only get the 5 as a return value. And just like I said, here we also see this whole thing in a more traditional way. So here we have our string filter variable and we set this to the name of our array, the fruitbasket.filter, and then we put in this myFilter function. And here we created a function and we have a parameter of x. Like I said, you can call it whatever you want. And we have a curly brackets and we got return type of x equals string. Or of course you could also filter to numbers, however you like. Let's go back to the length method. So we have seen before, we can have the name of our array, .length, and here in our case as a return value we get 4. But now one thing we can do is we can set this length directly. So we can say basket.length equals to, let's say 10. And now let's also have console.log. And when we refresh our web page, you can see here first of all the length of our array is 4. And then we changed it to 10. And now here we can see it actually is the length of 10, and we have watermelon, banana, blueberry, lemon, and it's simultaneously created 6 empty elements. Because of course if we have a length of 10 there needs to be something, and JavaScript decided to put nothing into this something. Now let's change the length to 2 and refresh this whole thing. You can see now we have watermelon, banana the blueberry, lemon and the 6 empty elements all got deleted. And now if we try to put it back to a length of 10 and we refresh our web page, you can see that now the blueberry and lemon, they got deleted when we change the length to 2, and now they still remain deleted. So if you want to delete the elements in your array, then they keep on being deleted. Our next goal is to create code which returns every array element. So we pretty much just had this before. We can just use these rectangular brackets. And now if we go to our website and we refresh, you can see that we get exactly the output which we want to have. But the bad thing is that this is not really nice code. So let's say we add an element to it. We add, for example, at index number 4, we can add a mango. And now if we refresh our web page, you can see there is no mango to be found. Also, the other way around, if we delete any element, then of course it would also not show. And the second thing which is bad about this code is because we break the try principle. So the principle of don't repeat yourself, and here we have the same code over and over again. So we need to find a better solution. And the better solution is to create a loop. And in our case, let's say we create a for loop with I equals 0, I is less than 4, and I plus plus. Then we create these rectangular brackets, and inside we can have a console.log from our fruit basket. And of course, then we have these rectangular brackets to select the index number, and we put I into it. And now what this does is it starts at I equals 0, so the first output is console.log fruit basket index number 0. When it increases I by 1, then we have the output of console.log fruit basket 1. Then it increases I once again, so we got fruit basket 2, 3, and then we reach a point where I equals 4, and this condition is not true anymore, so it stops the loop. And now, if you refresh, you can see here we get exactly the output which we want to have. But you can see already that yes, this works, but here we added at index number 4 the mango to it, and it's nowhere to be found. And also if we, let's say, we delete the lemon and refresh, you can see we also get undefined. So it's better than before because we don't break the try principle, but it's not the best. And we can fix this whole thing by using the length method. So let's say we have the name of our array dot length, and now let's put the mango back to it, and we refresh. And now you can see we always get exactly the output which we want to have. And if we add elements, we see them. If we remove elements, we don't get undefined. What we can also do is to create a for off loop. And what this code does is, well, it does pretty much exactly the same like this code, but for off is just a shorter way to write this code. And I don't want to get too deep into loops for now, but keep in mind that of course we can also use a while loop, and we can also use a do while loop. So you can see you have a for loop, a for off loop, a while loop, a do while loop. So they do all the same, just pick the one you like the most. And yes, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.